You open the fridge, stare into it, completely forget what you were looking for.
You tell yourself you'll go to the gym after work. By 6 o'clock, you're on the couch.
You know something is a bad idea, yet you do it anyway. And then somehow convince yourself it was fine.
That's the strange thing about being human. We feel like we're in control of our own minds.
But a lot of the time, we're really not.
G'day, I'm Shannon.
And I'm Sherry.
And this is Put It Plainly, where we take complex ideas and make sure they make sense in everyday lingo. Today, we're talking about psychology.
So let's put it plainly. Psychology sounds like a big word.
Lab coats and clipboards.
But at its core, psychology is literally the study of how we think, feel, and behave.
And it covers a lot more ground than most folks realise.
It's not just about therapy or mental illness.
It's how we learn, how we develop from childhood into adulthood.
Why some people are cautious and others take risks.
How we form habits, make decisions, fall in love, or hold grudges.
And why two people can go through exactly the same experience and come out the other side totally different.
Now, different schools of thought have come at these questions quite differently.
Some focused on behaviour, some on the hidden depths of the mind.
Some on how we process the world around us.
And some on what human beings are capable of growing into.
Suffice it to say, they didn't always agree.
But they were all pointing at the same messy, fascinating thing.
Psychology uses observation, testing, and evidence to find patterns in all of that.
It doesn't always get it right.
Human beings are messy.
But like any operating system, the human mind has bugs.
Quite a lot of them.
The brain doesn't receive information like a camera.
It interprets it.
Before anything reaches your conscious mind, your brain has already filtered what's worth noticing.
Made assumptions about what's probably there.
And filled in the gaps.
Two people can look at the same thing and genuinely see something different.
Now that's not a glitch, that's just perception.
None of us is working from a perfectly accurate picture of reality.
We're all working from a version of it.
And that version comes loaded with shortcuts.
Psychologists call these heuristics, mental shortcuts.
They help us make fast decisions without burning too much brain power.
Great for avoiding traffic.
Less great for the big calls in life.
Take the availability heuristic.
The more easily something comes to mind, the truer it feels.
Which is why people overestimate rare dangers like shark attacks.
And underestimate common ones like falling down the stairs.
Then there's confirmation bias.
We look for information that backs up what we already believe.
And quietly ignore anything that doesn't.
A talent scout at Decca Records did exactly that in 1962. He turned down a band from Liverpool because he was convinced guitar groups were finished.
Yeah, and guess what band that was? The Beatles.
Oops.
Oh yeah, framing changes everything. A procedure with a 10% failure rate feels riskier than one with a 90% success rate.
Same numbers, completely different reaction.
Our brains are efficient.
Just not always accurate.
And the brain doesn't flag its own errors.
It just keeps moving.
Most of what your brain does, you're not even aware of.
One of the pioneers of this field, Sigmund Freud, got a lot wrong.
But he got one big thing right.
There's a whole layer of mental activity running beneath the surface.
His followers took the idea in different directions.
Another pioneer, Carl Jung, explored the deeper patterns of personality and the archetypes that seem to surface across cultures.
Alfred Adler focused on motivation and the drive to grow past our own limitations.
They didn't all agree with Freud or with each other.
But they shared the same instinct.
To understand a person, you have to look beneath the surface.
Think of it as two layers.
A fast automatic layer that handles habits, instincts, and gut feeling.
And a slower, deliberate layer for thinking things through.
The catch is the fast layer is in charge more often than we'd like.
Which is why you can know something is bad for you.
And still do it anyway.
It's like having a backseat driver who's actually steering.
You just don't notice because you're too busy holding the wheel.
A lot of what that backseat driver runs on is emotion.
There's this popular idea that emotions and logic are opposites.
That you're either being rational or you're being emotional.
Psychology tells us a different story.
Emotions aren't the enemy of good thinking.
They're part of it.
They work like signals.
Fear says something might be dangerous.
Guilt says you might have crossed a line.
Without emotional processing, decision-making falls apart.
People who lose that ability through brain injuries struggle to make even basic choices.
Because nothing feels like it matters either way.
But emotions can also lead you astray.
In a well-known study, men were interviewed by the same researcher on two different bridges.
One solid and steady, the other a wobbly suspension bridge.
The men on the scary bridge were far more likely to call the researcher afterwards.
Their brains had misread the adrenaline as attraction.
So emotions aren't just signals.
Sometimes they're crossed wires.
Who you are isn't just about what's going on in your head.
One of the oldest debates in psychology is this: how much of who we are comes from biology and how much from the world we grew up in?
Nature versus nurture.
The honest answer is both.
Your genes shape your temperament.
But your environment, your culture, your early experiences,
All of that shapes how those tendencies play out.
and the pull of other people runs deeper than we like to admit.
In a classic 1950s experiment, psychologist Solomon Asch asked people to compare the length of some lines.
Dead simple. Basically impossible to get wrong.
But he placed actors in the room who gave the wrong answer on purpose.
37% of the time, real participants went along with it, just to fit in with the group.
Even when they could see it was wrong.
That's how powerful the need to belong really is.
Our behaviour isn't just driven by who we are.
It's shaped by the situation we're placed in.
And one of the biggest situational forces is one we create ourselves.
Habit.
Psychologists like Pavlov and Watson found that behaviour isn't just something we choose.
It's something we're conditioned into.
Through repetition, rewards and consequences.
You do something and it feels good, you're more likely to do it again.
Over time, those patterns get baked in.
That's not weakness, it's just how learning works.
Cognitive psychology added another layer.
It's not just that we're conditioned by what happens to us.
It's that we're constantly interpreting it.
Two people face the same setback,
One sees a reason to give up, the other sees information.
same situation, very different outcome.
The brain loves efficiency.
Once a behavior becomes habit, it runs on autopilot.
The problem is bad habits work exactly the same way.
And willpower is a limited resource,
You burn through it when you're tired or stressed.
which is why good intentions hold until about mid-afternoon.
Changing a habit isn't about trying harder.
It's about changing the system around you
The brain follows the path of least resistance.
every single time.
Your memory is not a recording.
You're not replaying events the way a camera would.
You're reconstructing them.
Every time you remember something, your brain pieces it together from fragments.
And in the process, it can change.
In a well-known experiment, people were read a list of words,
Slumber, tired, rest, night, dream.
then asked to recall the list.
Almost everyone remembered the word sleep.
But sleep was never on the list,
The brain filled it because it fit the pattern.
and people were completely certain they'd heard it.
According to the Innocence Project, 69% of wrongful convictions later overturned by DNA involved eyewitness misidentification.
People weren't lying.
Their brains were filling in the gaps and feeling certain about it.
Memory isn't storage.
It's storytelling.
We're not just shaped by habits and memories. We're shaped by each other.
For most of human history, being part of a group meant survival.
It's how our brains evolved to care deeply about what other people think.
Sometimes a bit too much.
Social rejection registers in the brain in ways that mirror physical pain.
Not identical, but close enough that the body responds in kind.
Put people in a group and they often put in less effort.
Psychologists call it social loafing.
In one study, relay swimmers swam slower when only the team's total time was announced.
But faster when their individual times were recorded.
If your effort can disappear into the crowd,
Your brain quietly decides someone else will handle it.
when you pull all of this together, psychology offers a picture of the mind that's a bit humbling.
Your perception is filtered before you're consciously aware of anything.
Your thinking runs on shortcuts and biases.
Your unconscious is often steering before your rational mind catches up.
Your memory reconstructs rather than replays.
And who you are is partly biology, partly experience. and partly the situation you happen to be standing in.
But the humanistic tradition in psychology added something worth holding on to.
Understanding all of this isn't a reason to feel stuck,
It's a reason to be curious.
because we're not just products of our conditioning.
We're also capable of growth, reflection, and change.
So work with the mind you've got instead of fighting it,
Be a bit more patient with yourself when you slip up,
and a lot more patient with other people,
because they're running the same messy system.
just with different settings.
Psychology isn't about diagnosing what's wrong with people.
It's about understanding what's normal about people,
It won't give you a perfect mind,
but it gives you a more honest relationship with the one you've got.
and once you start seeing the patterns
You notice them everywhere,
in yourself, in the people you love,
in the ones who drive you mad,
all of them running the same software.
all of them just trying to make sense of it.
Messy, brilliant, works in progress.
All of us.
Remember the fridge?
You stood there, stared in it, couldn't remember what you wanted.
The mind is a bit like that.
You live inside every moment of every day.
And most of the time, you still can't quite see what's going on in there.
Psychology doesn't fix that.
But it gives you a torch.
If you enjoyed this, give us a like.
Subscribe for more episodes where we break things down simply.
And if there's a topic you want us to cover,
Drop it in the comments.
thanks for watching.
Catch you next time.